Hello, listeners. Xavier here. Today on Out of the Rut, we're going to be interviewing Mandy. Now, Mandy is a functional health coach and registered nurse who specializes in working with women to reach their health and physical goals. She is also an NPC bikini bodybuilder aspiring for her pro card. So today, sit back and enjoy while we talk to Mandy and we learn a little bit more about her. This is Out of the Rut. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Xavier.
This is Billy.
And I'm Ron.
And this is our first ever recording of Out of the Rut. I don't know if it's our first episode exactly, but it's definitely our first recording. Today on the call, we have Mandy. Say hi, Mandy.
Hello, everyone.
All right. And we're going to just take a moment to get to know a little bit about Mandy and what she does. Billy, take it away.
Awesome, Mandy. I'm going to shoot you a few icebreaker questions if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me.
Awesome. So the first one is, what is a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know?
Oh, okay. Wow. Why is it always like when this question is asked immediately, like I forget everything about myself, period.
You just forget who you are as a person.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, whoa, what is my name, Mandy?
Who am I?
I could get real existential with it. I guess a fun fact about me that not many people know, but y'all are about to know, is that I have been a nurse for almost 14 or 15 years, and I actually just left the field.
Wow.
Dude, we'll definitely dive into that. Like, I'm kind of curious.
Definitely. Okay, the second question is, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, like profession-wise, what would be your other dream job?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Actually, I'm living my dream job right now. That's why I left nursing.
Ooh, God. So what is that? Just kind of give us a little teaser of what to expect. What is your dream job that you're currently doing now?
So I am actually a functional health coach for women.
Interesting.
Oh, got
Okay.
it. For women specifically, that's dope.
Yeah, there is like just such a need for women's health and hormone support. So instead of just doing like standard fitness coaching, I am using my nursing knowledge. I also got a bunch of different certifications, and now I can coach women if they want to lose weight. That's fine. I love those cases. But also help them more complex cases, like with actual health issues like pre-diabetic or PCOS. So that is my dream job, is actually helping people instead of just managing sick people.
That is awesome.
So what inspired you to become a health and wellness coach?
I didn't always know that this is what I didn't know this was my dream until I knew. I went through a lot of hardships myself. And I guess maybe in a selfish way, it is my path of healing myself to want to help other women that I see they're going through those same struggles. And being in the field of medicine, although I should really say the field of business medicine, and just seeing how much money is thrown at big businesses, big pharma, and how much money is spent keeping people sick. That just does not align with me and my core values. And that's kind of when I realized, like, hey, I want to help people, but I don't want to feed into this like big business system. So what can I do?
It is really
That's
interesting.
how I got here.
It is really interesting because like I can like I'm a little bit of a skeptic when it comes to things like doctors and hospitals, because I often do feel like they treat the symptoms versus treating the problem. So to have more people in the field that have that mindset of like, hey, let's cure the problem versus like just, the symptoms of the problem is super fucking badass. That's cool shit, Mandy. That's dope. In kind of a similar vein, before you got into the health and wellness and before you started doing competitions, like what are some jobs that you kind of held before that may have led you down this path or maybe sort of inspired you to kind of deep dive into what you currently do?
Well, I honestly don't have that long of a resume.
Sure.
Like I started, I guess like my first I did shampooing of people's hairs under the table when I was 15.
Heck yeah, dude. We all have those types of jobs we've done. We all have them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like I guess my first like let's call it a government like business job, I worked at PetSmart and I was a pet specialist taking care of animals. So I always kind of knew I wanted to do something with like caregiving. I originally actually wanted to be an English major
Oh.
and I really liked writing, but then
Did you
around
actually
senior
did you
year
end up going to college? Did you go to college for that?
Oh, no. Because senior year of high school, the locker mate next to me, her mom was a nurse. And I was like, shit, I really, can I swear?
Oh, please
Yes,
do.
please, yes.
Okay, great. I was like, shit, I really like fucking want to write, but I also don't want to be poor. So
The ultimate dilemma. Well, my passion
know.
and poverty. Pick one.
yeah. So like the girl that her locker was next to me, her mom was a nurse and she was like, well, do you want to shadow in the hospital? And I ended up shadowing an anesthesiologist and I got to watch them actually do like an epidural on a patient and they're putting this like huge ass needle in the back and I'm like
Ooh.
up close like holy shit, I want to do that. I want to do that.
I like how like so you can't see Billy and Ron. You can see my face, but you can't see Billy and Ron's. And our faces were just like ugh. And you're just like, oh my god, yes, excited. He got so
Yeah.
close to the mic, just super thrilled. Hey, but you know what? That's probably a good sign if that's your reaction to seeing an epidural taking place.
Well,
I
then-
mean, so that's what got me into nursing then.
That's where the fork in the road was, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna go
I just
down
want
this
to
road.
stick
instead.
needles in people.
that is
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Do you have any tattoos, Mandy? I'm curious with the needle obsession that we just heard from you. You have any tattoos?
I have 2. They're very, very small and I am done. I actually want to get one of them removed.
Oh, a little backtracking on them. No, that was just a random question. I was just mainly curious with the needle story, if the needle obsession carried on to other facets of your life. Billy, you were gonna ask a question. Go ahead.
Let's kind of throw you a weird one here. If you were stuck on a desert island, what 3 items would you want with you and why?
Well, I would definitely want a water filtration system because if you're not hydrated, you're probably a bitch.
I like that.
Listen, like you can live without food. It's not going to be like optimal, but you can't live without water. So definitely a water filtration system. I'm assuming these are just like items. Like I can't bring people, right?
No homies allowed.
No homies, just items. Which yeah.
And no pets either.
I mean, if you find a lizard on the island, you can keep it.
yeah, any animals you
that's-
find on the island, those are the only pets you're allowed.
Okay, got it. Okay, so then I'm definitely gonna bring water filtration. I'm gonna bring some sort of like, oh god, I'm not outdoorsy. Like a flint stone thingy for fire.
A Flintstone thingy, nice.
Flintstone thing.
Yeah, nice. You always need a stone thingy.
And well, it has to be a stone thingy because if it's a lighter, I'll run out of fluid. So
Very
that doesn't
true,
make sense.
Yes.
Very true.
And then my third one, oh god, like I really want the girl in me's like, I want to bring a journal. I think I would bring a
Yes, I
machete.
There we go. I'm like a journal, but like no pen. You just have the journal, the loose pieces of paper. Nothing to write with.
I want the machete because then I can cut down bark and then I can find a way to make a pen or something. But then also I have defense and I could build a house.
We got shelter. Well, we have a means of making a shelter. We got water filtration. Leaving the journal at home. We're leaving the journal at home.
Hard cut, unfortunately.
That would be the 4th item if you had an option. Bring a 4th item.
You can write your feelings in
Yes.
the sand.
there we go.
And had the shore just wash it away for you.
Yeah, right. There's a new page.
Yes. And then the last icebreaker for you would be if you can instantly master one skill, what would it be and why?
Oh shit! I mean, teleportation would be pretty sweet because I'm
Dude,
very
That would be fucking
impatient.
sick.
Honestly, with how horrible airport experiences are, dude, I'll fly or teleport anywhere.
You know how your like traveling life would be if you could just fucking teleport anywhere?
Dude, I mean, you'd save a load of money.
yes.
So much money.
Yeah, or a car payments. Why you need a car if you could just teleport somewhere?
No, I like me and my wife. We talk about this all the time. I like traveling, but I hate the act of traveling. If that makes sense. Like if we're going somewhere, like someplace nice, tropical, scenic, whatever. Just wake me up when we get there. I don't want to do the whole sitting in line at baggage claim. I don't want to sit in a car for hours. Just get me there.
Well, then, and then the last one for you, Mandy, is tell us about a time that you were stuck in a rut.
And
Oh my
take your
God, I have
take your
so
time.
much.
Yeah, no, take your time with these because like essentially that's kind of what it is, right? We like Billy, Ron, and I consider us just three guys who are constantly in ruts all the time, looking for our next passion, whatever. Because at least I can't speak for them, but for myself, my little ADHD brain means that I get bored very easily with stuff once I feel like I've mastered them or gotten good at them. So to kind of line up with Billy's question, like talk to us about a time when maybe you've been in a rut and maybe the steps you took to get out of that rut.
That's amazing that you guys are constantly in rut because, like, I would argue that that's like a huge part of living life is cultivating a bunch of different experiences. So, the way I see it, you guys are just getting like hella XP. But
Oh, dude.
Major level up.
Dude, heck yeah, bro. Just leveling up. I'm actually going to call that collecting XP. I'm going to adopt that if that's cool with you. That's badass.
yeah, take it. Yeah. For me, I've been in many ruts myself, but I think the pivotal one for my life, so far up to this point, was getting divorced for
Ooh.
me.
Hey, that's a
Yeah.
big transition. I feel like that does facilitate most people's big transitions in their lives.
Yeah. So a little background on it is just for complete candor here. I grew up basically, my parents were divorced. I had a wonderful, wonderful stepdad who I considered my dad, married my mom when I was 5. So I was very fortunate that I did have a really healthy male figure. But my biological dad was very abusive towards my mom. So I kind of grew up with that little, like, I guess you could say, like, daddy issue brewing
Yeah.
under the surface, which
Relatable.
sort of led to me having like a string of relationships that weren't the best for me, that were also kind of mimicking that behavior I saw as a child. So very abusive. My ex-husband, the man I ended up marrying, we had been together for about 4 years. I knew I didn't want to marry him.
Mhm.
So I was heavily overweight, pretty burnt out in nursing at that point. I'd been doing it for a while. I worked in surgery at the time, and I was in charge of the neurosurgical team at a level 1 trauma, which is I don't know if you guys have heard of Christ on the South Side. So we pretty much got the worst of the worst traumas, accidents, like gunshot wounds, just
Jesus.
nail guns.
I bet you have plenty of stories about that.
Oh my God, I have so many stories. I have a lot of pictures too.
Dude,
Yeah.
share those with us. We obviously can't share that on the podcast, but goddamn, I'm curious. No, I'm just kidding, Mandy.
Yeah, definitely like off the record for sure later. I'm happy to share. But so I was like super burnt out on that. I would get called in like 2 in the morning, 11 p.m. There was no sense. I was probably working like 80-hour work weeks. And I knew I didn't want to marry him, but again, I was heavily overweight, had zero self-esteem. And I was like, well, this is probably as good as it's going to get. So I guess I should just say yes, which, terrible.
I mean,
Terrible, do not-
probably, and like obviously, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure there's a level of like unprocessed trauma on your end too that led down to that too. Like, if you can't process the trauma that you've gone through, you're sort of just destined to keep repeating the same what you witness and what you see, with what's familiar.
100%. And that's exactly what happened. So we ended up getting married, and it was probably 3 months in when I filed for divorce.
Only 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like
So-
I don't want to say only as in like wow, only 3 months, but like that's you had to have known, like you said, you had to have known beforehand the writing on the wall and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Like when I knew when he was proposing to me, my gut like sunk, and I was like, oh God, I don't know how to get out of this situation. So like I just said yes, which sounds terrible. and we both we both weren't great people at the time. You know, we did the best we could with what we had. We were not good for each other. And I did try and get out of it the day of the wedding. But the
Ooh.
wedding
Like-
coordinator kind of like pushed me through the curtain down the aisle. And I was like,
Dang.
okay, well, everyone's looking at me, so I probably should just do it. I wasn't as strong as I am today
That's a
to
lot of
have just
pressure.
put my foot down.
Also, like the amount of bravery you have to have, like I feel like pop culture very much like paints a negative image of people who do those types of things in reality, but like in the grand scheme of things, like there's a level of like real bravery that you have to do to be able to admit to yourself in that moment, like this is not it. Like I maybe thought this was at one point, or you know, felt pressure into doing it, but like to admit to yourself and to admit to people that this isn't what you want to do, or this is not the outcome you want. Like I look at it from the other perspective of like, that is brave as shit to do. Like that takes a strong-willed person to be able to do that and just have the emotional, like to be able to process the emotional complexity of all that you have to go through to get to that conclusion. Insane. Mad props, Mandy, mad props.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, you know, that's part of it, I think, is admitting it. And then, but people get caught up in that fear of the unknown because it's like, oh, if I don't do this, then shit, my entire life changes. And most people are stuck in that fear. But for me, like my come to Jesus moment was like trying to picture my future being old, sitting on a porch with this man. And I'm like, oh God, like this is not it. This is not what I want. Yeah, it just can't, I couldn't do it. And what made it a little easy, and it kind of almost feels like a cop out, because even though I recognized I didn't want this, I still wasn't at that point like strong enough to act and do something on it. But shortly after we got married, he kind of pulled like a 180. And like I said, it was not the healthiest relationship. It was pretty emotionally abusive, I would say, on both sides.
Sure.
I will own that.
Sure.
Again, unprocessed trauma.
No, I mean, it takes two to tango. A relationship, you know, it takes two. Takes two.
Definitely. Yeah. But he did a 180 and started following me to work. And like when I would get called in, he'd be like, who are you going to see? You're cheating on me. Where did you park your car? And that was sort of my like, what? No, this isn't like, you know, everybody has a breaking point, and that was my breaking point that pushed me to file.
It really is crazy how many stories you hear about like people getting married and like before marriage being very much one way, and then like I hate to use this phrase, but like the minute you're like locked down, it's like all of a sudden people's true colors come out and they do that 180. Like you hear it, you see it in Reddit stories all the time, or you hear it from people that you know, just like you don't ever 100% know someone at the end of the day, like, or know that what their intentions are. Like people can put as many masks as they want on to be what they think they need to be in order to either attract a partner or attract friends or whatever. But it can so easily be not who they really are. And you hear about that so often, which honestly scares the shit out of me, man. That shit makes me nervous.
But it's like levels, right? I mean, I could get like a really deep into this. I don't know like how weird you guys are like about,
weird.
but
very weird. We're very
like,
we're very weird, Mandy. We're very weird.
But I think there's like levels of consciousness to it, right? So the more unconscious you are to yourself, like you had said, I was totally living in a negative feedback loop. So I couldn't get out of that because I didn't process things. I didn't want to process uncomfortable feelings. So I kept myself very unconscious, very small. And when I recognized I wanted more out of life, I wanted more for myself. I wanted to respect myself. I wanted to love myself and kind of evolve that level of consciousness. I truly believe that like lets in a lot of like love, and I'm woo woo. So the universe, it lets in God. And that allowed me to find a more conscious partner and to have healthy relationships. So I guess on one hand, it's like maybe you can never truly know someone, but I like to look at it as we are all connected. And the higher we elevate our consciousness, the easier it is to put that trust and love in someone and know that like everything is going to work out.
Oh, I like that a lot. It's definitely definitely like an optimistic approach to life. Which, I mean, if you live so much in that negative space, it's almost like you manifest more negativity. So to have that positive sort of spin, or that positive outlook on relationships, I'm sure has changed a lot of like your future relationships beyond this moment.
100%. Like I was the definition of negativity. Kind of backtracking a little bit, but like when I was 15, I was actually diagnosed with PMDD, which stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And they didn't know a lot about it at the time. Now they classify it as not just an endocrine disorder, so like a hormone disorder, but also a psychological disorder.
Interesting.
And basically, it is like PMS on steroids, where like
As if PMS
it
wasn't bad enough,
right?
Oh God.
yeah. So like I would like literally be affected by my hormones the entire month. And then right before my cycle would start, I would have hours where I would be catatonic, sitting in the bathroom, staring at a wall, not registering anything. So like that's like the kind of negativity I grew up in. And I was like, oh, this is just, oh, woe is me. I have PMDD. Nothing's going to ever work out. And that kept me stuck. And that kept me in this bad marriage and bad relationships. And I know it sounds so stupid simple, but like seriously changing the way that I think about things and my perspective on things to be optimistic, everything started working out in my life. I have never, ever since I changed this, I have not had any PMDD episodes. I don't identify with it any longer.
Dude,
I had
hell yeah.
zero.
Good, congrats.
Yeah. And they told me you're stuck with this for life. And I was like, no.
And you're like, you are, maybe you are, but like you control essentially. I don't control the narrative, if that's the right phrase, but like you essentially control the narrative and control the effect that it has on your life beyond just having it. So I know that. I mean, honestly, that is a fucking great story about being in a rut. I could say as three men who don't deal with that kind of thing at all. It's definitely inspiring still to hear stories like that and be like, holy shit, like how humans are able to really process emotions and change their lives when in moments of being severely down and in ruts. It's I love those types of stories. So that was great, Mandy. That was badass. Congratulations on all that, for the life change, the new job and everything. Moving on to moving kind of back into the health and wellness. I actually have a question, and I kind of want to gear it a little bit towards your like the competitions, because you're a bodybuilding, like you compete in bodybuilding, correct?
Yes.
So in your health and wellness journey, when did competitions come into play, and like what sort of spearheaded that passion of like, hey, you know what, I want to try this thing?
Yeah. Well, never in a million years would I have thought that I would have been half naked up on stage in front of a large crowd.
And most
But
people might call that like
yeah.
a fucking nightmare. I think there are actually legit nightmares people have about that exact instance, but
Oh, definitely. Yeah. For me, it was, yeah, like right after I got divorced, I decided, like I said, I wanted to start living for myself, and I didn't want to just accept where my life had been to that point. So one of the things I started doing was actually working out and working to get myself healthier. So I got off hormonal birth control, started working out, started eating better. And originally, like my gym goal, as superficial as it sounds, I'm just gonna own it. I just wanted an ass. I'm half Latina and I was flat as a pancake, and I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm half Latina. I should have an ass, so I'm gonna work on building an ass. And that is how superficial it was.
it all starts with the
But
peaches. It all starts
it
there.
does. Yeah. So once I actually started making gains and my body started changing, in the back of my mind, I was like, ooh, I wonder if I could ever do this, if I could ever be a bodybuilder. And they had like, well, they still have bikini division, which is a very feminine division. Like there's still muscles, but they have emphasis on an hourglass figure, on glutes. So I kind of had it in the back of my mind. And then after about 6 years, in. And at that point, I had gotten my certification as a personal trainer and functional nutrition. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to just pull the trigger and I'm going to do it. And my goal was to do it before I turned 35. Because in my head, I was like, then you're in the masters division, and I didn't want to go up against women that had been doing this for like decades.
Sure.
I was like, I'd rather go against the 20 somethings. So I wasn't hormonally optimized, but it was one of these like, ooh, I should just bucket list this. But I fell in love with it. I take it a lot more serious now, but I did compete, did a couple of shows before I turned 35, and I placed in both of them.
Nice.
So
how many competitions would you say you have done at this point in your life, from beginning to now? How many competitions we talking?
from bodybuilding
Yeah.
alone, just 2. My goal is to do the least amount as possible to get my pro card.
Nice.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice. And then is like other competitions, like competitions collectively are just competitive fitness. Like, would you say that, like, is that also too? Is there more competitions in there?
That I've done?
Yeah.
No,
Just rocked out those 2.
I would I honestly was not athletic at all growing up. I was always like very overweight, very unhealthy, grew up on the standard American diet, very processed food.
Sure.
So I never thought in a million years I could ever be, number one, athletic, let alone be a bodybuilder. So once I kind of did those shows, fell in love with it, I was like, okay, I want to take this to the next level, and I want to become a pro. I want to get my card, and I'm going to take this seriously. So right now I am currently in an improvement season with my current coach. And I basically told him, listen, I want my pro card. It takes as long as it takes. I'm not stepping on stage until you tell me I can. So
boom,
it's in his hand.
No, that's
Fun
awesome.
fact, Mandy actually is the one who got me into competing. She set me up with a coach and everything.
You're the one
Oh.
responsible for thick boy Ron that we have here. Because when I met Ron, he was little skinny boy Ron, but now he's Captain Thickums.
Captain Thickums.
I know. I see those pictures, and it takes like one peck takes up the whole picture on Instagram. I'm like, sweet Jesus, bro, jeez.
She's also
I know, he's
responsible
got
for some of those
D-cups.
pictures.
Oh, she's also responsible for some of the pictures. Hey, you know what? Then kudos, Mandy. Those pictures are fire. Your picture game is solid. Explain a little bit how bodybuilding competitions works. I have zero experience outside of like health and wellness, like what bodybuilding competitions are, like what is the sort of like ranking hierarchy system of how they work. Can you go into a little bit of like what that is and explain how bodybuilding competitions work from a back end level, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely speak onto it from a bikini division standpoint. For the
Sure.
men's division, you're gonna have to default to Ron there. It's a little bit different, but for women, I think one of the things that I definitely an error that could be avoided that I see a lot of competitors make is not doing their research ahead of time. So with bikini, we have certain criteria, same for wellness, figure, which are other women's divisions. So bikini in particular, we're looking for defined delts, an hourglass shape, which you have to work out your lats then too, so your back to get that hourglass shape, and glutes are the criteria that the judges are looking for, but they also take into consideration your overall look. So your bikini, your tan, which sounds silly, but it matters. And then
Wait,
your
so like
makeup.
for bikini, like does it like do you have to like pick a bikini and like you get graded on the bikini that you pick? It's not just like I don't know why, but I just kind of imagined there was just like a default style that was just like, oh yeah, you pick one of these 4 and who gives a shit about that? But you actually get graded on the bikini too?
Yeah, so there's like 4 different divisions. They want your suit to be a certain cut, to show a certain amount, but also to be modest, which sounds a little silly because like you're up there,
You're already up there naked.
everything's exposed.
It seems a little counterproductive a little bit.
Yeah, but that's part of what I respect. We are glorifying muscle here, but they do want to try and keep it classy. Especially in the bikini division, historically, it gets often sexualized.
I guess that
And
makes
that's
sense.
something, yeah, on the professional side of it, they do want to make sure that like we are staying true to what classic bodybuilding is, in the bikini division, where like, okay, yes, all these women are very attractive, but that's not what we're here for. We're not here to oogle. We're here to actually judge what is the muscle looking like, what is our shape looking like. So that is kind of like the judging criteria in itself. And then a big one is how you pose. A pose can make or break your placing in a lineup.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Which is a lot harder than you would think it is.
was
I
about to
thought I was gonna come in like when I was doing it with my coach. I was like, "Oh, this isn't gonna be that difficult." The one of the hardest things about it, I think maybe outside of prep, because prep sucks, and that's one of the toughest things I've ever been through. But posing is very challenging.
I mean, Ron has told us that he's gone into dancing a little bit. He's taken some dancing lessons to get those transitions and stuff between the poses good. So I imagine there's a lot more work put into it than what we as spectators notice.
Definitely. I think people just are like, oh, you work out a lot, eat a lot of protein, you get a tan, and that's it. And there's just like so much more that goes into it. You literally have to like live this lifestyle, where it's really easy, just to tie back in you're getting a rut theme. It's really really easy for a lot of competitors to kind of put themselves in a hole as far as like their relationships and friendships go when they're in prep, because it is what we call like a selfish sport, because you do have to focus so much on what you're doing every single day. But some people get lost in that sauce, and then they tend to neglect their social relationships, which can also affect how they place when they actually go to compete.
How long does the prep period usually take? Like, if you were like going to isolate, like, hey, the preparation period, like, what date your competition is, like, you're bunkering down, you're eating everything you have to, you're working out all at all the times you need to. Like, how long of a stint do you think, like, would you say that process or that section of the process is?
Okay, that's a great question. So I think there are kind of two camps of people with bodybuilding, and that doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is, how serious do you want to take the sport? Are you doing this as a bucket list, or is this something that like you truly want to be competitive in? So typically I'll see a lot of aspiring competitors that they pick out a show before they pick out a coach or anything, and they're like, okay, I need X amount of time, and that's fine, that's great, you can do that. I think the average for, like, again, bikini division is they'll start a prep about 16 weeks out, is about the average. Now, like I said, I've done 2 shows. I want to be very serious about this. So for me, I'm playing the long game. And I'm not going to pick a show and then be like, okay, I'm 16 weeks out. I'm going to start the prep, see how that goes, and how my body changes is going to dictate which show I do. So I'm being a little bit more intentional, a little bit more nitpicky about it, but that is kind of what the pros do, is your body will tell you when you're ready to show. And I don't want to show until I can sweep and take that freaking medal.
Hey, no, that's actually a really like interesting point, and like I'm so glad I'm so glad we delved into that too, because like I'll tell you right now, as again someone who has no idea of what that is like, I would think that same way of like, oh, I'm gonna find a show and then I'm gonna prep, where it's like, if you really want to take this shit seriously and be the champion, I guess that it is very much that way of like, you're putting in the legwork now, and as you get closer to that time, you're deciding for yourself if it's the right show for you to win, and if you've put in the necessary work that you needed to. No, that's badass. So
my first show, actually, I ended up prepping for 26 weeks.
Ooh.
Now I'm not a mathematician. I know average 4 weeks in a month.
That's about half a year. It's like 6 months.
That's about 6 months. Holy shit.
2 weeks in a year.
Yeah. So just to give you a little perspective on that, is originally I went in thinking like, you got to pick this date. And I started out with a coach, and he put me on meal plans, and I ended up gaining 8 pounds. And I was like, okay, I'm new to bodybuilding, but I know I'm not supposed to be gaining weight right now.
Sure.
So I ended up parting ways with him and picking a new coach. And I was like, hey, I already paid for the show, I already paid for my hair and makeup. It gets real expensive. So she told me straight up when that show date came, she's like, you're not ready. And that was really hard to hear after, like, starving for so long. but I still placed. I got on stage, I did my thing, and then I was like, you know what, let's push it another 4 weeks. The next show's in 4 weeks. And then I still placed, but I looked a lot better. So that's kind of like where I learned that hard lesson in don't pick the show. Like let your body pick for you.
For someone who is looking to get into bodybuilding for the first time, like what are some things that they'll need to consider both like financially and time commitment wise? Like we talked a little bit about the time commitment bit, but like from a financial end, like you talk about like finding a coach and stuff like that. Like again, speaking for someone who has zero experience and maybe is just like starting to look into the steps to get into this. What are some things that they have to consider financially if they really want to take it seriously, the same way that you do?
Finances are a huge part of it. And I really, really recommend, like, again, I think before you compete, you have to sit down with yourself and have like an honest conversation about how serious do you want to take this and what are you willing to commit and what are you willing to sacrifice? Because if I could say anything financially, it is do not financially skimp out on a coach. 100%. You can be the best trainer, you could be the best coach and be like, I'm just going to self coach. And a lot of people do that. And to the people who can do that, props. But most people cannot objectively self coach themselves through a prep. So don't skip on the coaching. Do not skip on a posing coach. I would honestly say the sooner you start posing, even if you're not ready to prep, the better. Especially if you're a female looking to get into bodybuilding, like you're posing in heels. It's hard. It is fucking hard. I think I tried to show Ron a couple poses without heels. Yeah, that was hard.
I was doing them. Yeah.
Honestly, I wish you could see Ron's face. Ron's face is just like this smirk of just like, oh yeah. It was hard. It sucked. I'm sure it, like most things, like with personal training or in music or whatever, like the amount you pay for a coach definitely depends on the quality or the experience of that coach. But like, if you had to like put a dollar amount to it, just so people listening have an idea of like, hey, this is how much a good coach is going to run you. How much would you say like roughly that is?
So you're gonna get people that are gonna charge anywhere from $250 a month upwards of $500-$600 a month. And again, some of them are worth the hype. It just depends on how far you want to take it. I would say on average, a prep coach is probably going to cost you around $300 to $350 a month.
I'll be honest, I was
Posing,
expecting a lot more, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
oh,
still expensive, but like, oh no, you're like, wait, hold on.
well, like it's essentially like a car payment, a car payment if you think about it. But then you have to take into consideration like opposing coach. So some of them will sell in packages so you can save like a little bit of money, but that's probably going to be around another $200.
Oh,
Um, and then for women, I mean, I had the benefit that I am a personal trainer. I have been working out. I know how to work out, so I didn't have to pay for a personal trainer. Some people don't have that option. So they might be paying, $100+ a month for that. Shoes are about 60. A suit can be anywhere between 400 and over a grand.
holy.
Wow.
So that you can save money by renting a suit, but if it doesn't fit you the right way, then you risk getting points knocked off your judging.
Yeah.
Then the tan, that's probably around 100. Hair and makeup is going to be like together. If you got that, that's about 300. Again, you can save money by doing your own tan, but then you risk that it's not the right shade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I ended up actually, I dug into my savings and I spent more than I intended to and actually ended up spending about $8,000.
By the
Yeah.
time the whole thing was done.
By the time it was all done. Yeah. So next time I go to compete, it shouldn't be as expensive because I do have a suit, even though I want a new one. Can't help it. I'm just a girl.
Gotta have options.
But then, and then you also have to consider like if you're traveling for a show. So like I also had to pay for a hotel room.
Got it. So it's not just as simple as just finding a coach.
Sometimes you can get lucky and get the same, like your coach might offer posing, but not that often.
Got it, got it. And like, is if for someone like you who's looking to do this at a very high caliber and looking to do this very seriously, like what sort of doors open up for people who go down this path, who are competing at the level that you are? Like, is it like like sponsorship deals type things? Is it just sort of more just like personal? Is there any sort of like do any sort of doors open up for you by going down this path and being good at it?
So I would say like you have to be pretty damn good at it. Like you have to be like Chris Bumstead level good, Jennifer Dory level good to actually like turn a profit from bodybuilding itself.
Sure.
The majority of people like they'll do it and they're thinking they're gonna get the clout, they're thinking they're gonna get sponsorship deals, and you might, but the true reality is the majority of competitors at the high caliber level, they have full-time day jobs.
Yeah.
And that's what's paying for them to compete. So like the prize money when you get into like these higher competitions, like for bikini, you might be doing a show and maybe you win $1,000. Maybe you win 3,000. Like it's not gonna pay the bills.
It's not the 8,000 you invested in to get started. Like you said, you're not going to pay that. Hopefully, you're not paying 8,000 each time. But getting started is always the most expensive part.
You understand what it's like struggling, getting on the right track, and focusing on your health. So how do you motivate your clients who are struggling in that same area to stay committed to their goals?
Yeah, I think for this was actually a really good and hard lesson for me to learn as a coach. You know, you can't want it more than your clients do. So when I am like, I could be rooting for my client so much, but like it is hard to change um, some habits and some negative habits. Like maybe it's a nicotine habit or it's binge drinking or, it's a processed sugar addiction. So what I do to help my clients get a little bit more motivated and find themselves back on track is to really approach them with a lot of love and compassion. Because when they check in with me, that's my main job as a coach, how I see it. I want to create a safe space so that if you feel like you fucked up on your protocol or quote unquote fell off track, I want you to have that honest conversation with me. And I'm not here to guilt trip anyone. Like some clients will be like, oh, I need a drill sergeant. I need you to yell at me. And I'm like, absolutely not. You're being hard enough on yourself. You are guilt tripping yourself. You don't need that. You need love. And you need to learn how to love yourself so that you can have these consistent discipline habits in place rather than falling off track. And eventually it does stick. So, I mean, maybe that's my optimism and like killing them with kindness and love, but it works.
No, I think that's kind of cool too, because like I don't know if Ron told you I was a personal trainer for a short time, but like something that like I always found interesting was like whenever I would get clients that say they want that, like I want someone who's gonna yell at me and really pressure me, it's like I would almost combat that thinking like, hey, if you need that to get here, then I don't know if this is the right time for you to be going down this path, if that's what you need, right? Like love can be tough sometimes, sure, but like if you're looking for someone to call you up and say, hey, get your ass here because you're wasting your life or time or whatever, it's like I don't know if this is the right time for maybe you to be going down this path right now, because like you need to want it just as much as I want you to want it. And if you're telling me that you don't want it and you're gonna need someone to bully you into showing up, I don't know if that's really like the most healthy in terms of longevity of this.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to last very long, like because there's no real internal motivation to do it.
Yeah. So that's no, I kind of like
discipline.
So I
hate that word motivation. Discipline.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't coddle them by any means. I'm not like, oh no, it's okay. Like shit happens. Like yes, it does, but not every week. And I think that's what it is with a lot of people that are like, no, be mean to me. For them, I think it's going back to kind of like trauma and unhealed things. It's a worthiness thing. So it's like if they're getting yelled at, that's what they feel like they deserve. And I'm like, no, baby, you deserve better. So I'm going to love you into wanting better for yourself.
I'm going to love you until you love yourself.
Yeah, geez, I'm going to love you so hard, man. No, that's I like the optimistic approach, and like I was bad. I was always bad with the clients that really wanted that sort of like bullying mentality, and I'm like, I can't do that to you, man. Can't do it. And if that's what you need, then you might want to find someone else, or just honestly, you probably need therapy more than you need a good workout, my friend. Start there, and then call me up.
Off the top of your head, can you share a success story that highlights the impact of your coaching?
Ooh, like from a client?
Yeah. Or whatever you feel like has been a success in your journey of being a coach.
Okay. So that would definitely be when I started venturing more into the functional health realm with my coaching. So not just like, oh, let's lose 10 pounds and like get a dump truck on the back. I have a
That gets you in the
client.
gym door.
That's step one.
Yeah.
I have a client. I'll keep her anonymous, although I don't think she would mind if I shared her name. But she has literally been with me for about 4 years, and she kind of was in that headspace of like, oh, I'm not worthy of this health transformation. Kind of would like go in circles, like improve a little bit and then backtrack with self-sabotage. And just recently, she kind of like, again, I loved her. I loved her so fucking hard. And she started loving herself. And what kind of like was a tipping point is I told her, I'm like, you got to get labs done. And her labs came back. She was pre-diabetic. And I was like, all right, you don't want to be this. You don't want to go down that path that like your parents were headed down as well. So let's fix it. And she just got labs redone a month later. Her A1C markers improved, and we got her to drop about 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
Hot day. Yo, 6 weeks?
6?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yo, that's insane.
So,
that's amazing.
That's like 100% on both sides too. The client and the training, like.
Well, like before she wasn't being consistent, and as soon as she got this news, it flipped a switch. She was in the gym every single day that I assigned like a workout to her. She was hitting water. And the big one for her, she was hitting nutrition because she had been chronically under eating, thinking, oh, this is going to help me lose weight. And I'm like, no, we got to fix this insulin resistance. Like, I need you to eat just a little bit more and the right food sources.
Yeah.
And so much of that was like inflammation. So we still got a little ways to go for her goal that she set for herself. But like, that is one where I'm just like so fucking proud.
And how long you've been working with this client for? You said it for a long time.
Yeah, about 4 years.
Dude, no name mystery client. If you're listening, congratulations, you badass. No, that's great. That's great. Kind of shifting. I have a question. Kind of shifting back into the like a little bit of the bodybuilding, but kind of just the health and wellness in general. Like, what are some things that surprised you when you first started getting into both the health and wellness industry away from nursing, but also like in competing as well? What was something that surprised you as like a first timer getting into the field, as like, oh, I did not expect this, and now I need to learn how to do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, I guess like I was both surprised. It might sound a little silly, but like I was surprised by how nice people were, but also how like manipulative other people were. I mean, I guess like anything, there's gonna be cliques and different groups of people. But with my background, I kind of went into it, even though I'm a very optimistic person. I'm like, listen, Mandy, you don't know anything about this world. Just be like a little reserved, but like also have fun. That's the whole fucking point, right? Go have fun. So when I showed up backstage for my first show, I was by myself. Like they only let athletes back there unless you have a coach. Like Ron's coach would definitely be backstage with him. I had no one. My coach lived in California at the time. So I'm like back there, like naked in a robe, and I'm looking around at all these strange people. And then I saw like one other girl standing there by herself, and I was like, hi, is this your first show? And she's like, yeah, is it yours? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you're my friend now.
You're my friend. I'm calling it.
We're doing this together.
Yeah.
Yo, if we believe anything here at Out of the Rut, it's that friendship makes the world go round. You need friends around you at all times.
Yeah. especially ones that'll be honest with you. So like that was really it's cool how easy it is to make friends. But then I also saw backstage like a little bit of poor sportsmanship. So that also kind of surprised me about things because I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, it's not gonna help you to be an asshole at this point in the game backstage. Um, so those were two things very opposite, but they both kind of surprised me. I didn't know what to expect.
What are some misconceptions or myths that you have come to find, like whether it's in the health and wellness or even in bodybuilding?
Ooh, um, I think the biggest misconception is that bodybuilders are healthy. Yeah.
I
That's a
had that misconception
huge
too.
one. That's a
Yeah.
huge one.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very unhealthy sport. And for me, that is something that I struggled with for a little while because it didn't feel in alignment with me since I value health. And like, I mean, I value health enough that I left like a stable financial career to do what I'm doing. But yeah, that is also part of the reason why now I found a coach that is in alignment with me and my core values, that does value health, that does operate from a functional standpoint, and that we can take as long as it takes because I do want to preserve my health. It's very common for females that go into bodybuilding to lose their menstrual cycles,
Hmm.
sometimes for over a year. So it's hard on your hormones, even men as well. And that was my biggest goal is I wanted to maintain as much health in an unhealthy sport as I can.
We put I think bodybuilders or competitive athletes on a pedestal, right? Of like they are the pinnacle of health and they're the pinnacle of what it means to be a all around healthy person. And honestly, more often than not, whether it be bodybuilding or any sport really, it's like there are definitely things that are great. There are aspects that are healthy, but there are a lot of drawbacks and a lot of other things you sacrifice in order to be good at this thing that like that takes just as much of a toll on your body as indulging on too much sugar or whatever.
That's another thing I didn't think about too for expenses, but then also like in the same vein as being unhealthy is before I got into bodybuilding, when I worked at the trauma hospital, like there were like right around when I was leaving there, we had an influx of young men in their 20s needing open heart surgeries because they
Ooh.
were running different gear protocols, which again, that's an expense too. If you do want to be an enhanced athlete, that can be quite costly every single month. But yeah, that's something going in the same direction. Like people think it's healthy, but there are so many even pro athletes that have been on the Olympia stage that have had health scares, just due to the different, performance enhancing drugs that are also out there. So very important that you find a coach that is going to respect your boundaries if you do want to remain a natural athlete as well.
What kind of resources are out there to find a coach? Like, what are the steps that you took to find a good coach? Are there apps? Is it like just a simple Google search? Is it just like going through the yellow pages of your phone book trying to find, bodybuilding coaches? Like, what sort of resources would one need to look into if they were looking for a bodybuilding coach or just multiple coaches to be able to kind of workshop with?
Yeah, I think the best resource honestly is going to be word of mouth, kind of like, when you first start working out in the gym, I think the majority of people will like find a gym friend and they kind of teach them about how to lift and what are like drop sets and that's like you just pass down this gym knowledge. I think it's the same with like finding a reputable coach. I always encourage people like ask around, ask different athletes what their experiences have been, because there, for as many great coaches as there are out there are a lot that they don't care about your hormones status. They just want you to win a medal because that makes them look good.
Hmm.
They won't care if you want to have children, whether you're a female or a male competitor, because, if you do choose to take performance enhancing drugs, that can also affect male fertility. So you kind of, like I said, sit down with yourself beforehand, decide what is important to you, what are your values, what do you want for your future, and then from there, ask around about coaches to find the one that's going to be good for you. And a lot of these coaches will do free consultation calls or like introductory calls. So I always tell people take advantage of that, shop around, and let them know too. Just be like, hey, I'm gonna get back to you. I have a couple more people I want to talk to. Honesty is the best policy. And in some cases, like I've actually asked coaches that I've like asked for help to, for example, this one coach ran a gut protocol for me, which I'm capable of running myself, but like I didn't want to do that because I wanted to pay attention to my clients. So he ran the gut health protocol for me when I was suffering post competition.
And what is
And at the end,
what is that real quick?
not only were my hormones trashed after competition, but my gut health was too. It kind of ruined my microbiome in the bikini division. If you're not doing a prep in the healthiest way, you're eating a very small amount of calories. So, like at my lowest, and anyone listening to this, please do not mimic this. This is not health advice. It's not healthy at all. But at my lowest, I was eating 1,200 calories for about a month and a half. And eventually it messes with your bacteria that are balanced in the gut. So then when you're done competing and you start eating like normal food again, it can backfire. So I hired a coach to put me through a protocol so that I can get my gut health back.
Got it.
And at the end of that, I just asked him, I knew he did prep, like he would prep competitors. But I also know he's running like several businesses and I want a coach that's going to pay attention to me. So I just asked him, I was like, hey, what are some functional coaches you would recommend? And he gave me a huge list. So I just went down the list and found one that we ended up on a consultation call for 2 hours. And I was like, well, I guess this is my guy.
Yeah, if the vibes are right, the vibes are right.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us, Mandy? We have some more questions, I think, right? You, Ron, Billy. Yeah, I have a couple more. But switching gears, do you have any questions for us? Just random.
Yeah, I literally know the least. So like, how did you guys meet? How did you become friends? Like, how did this all happen?
Cool. I'll start with this one, I guess. I'll start off with how I met Billy. I met Billy because we worked together, working a hospitality desk at a local gym around here. I had this huge cast on my hand when I first met Billy because I had broken up a dog fight from my landlord, and our boss at the time was crazy. I called her from like at 11 p.m. from the hospital while I'm getting stitches in my hand because this dog essentially bit a huge gaping hole in my hand. And I'm calling her from the ER while I'm getting stitched up, telling her, hey, by the way, I'm probably not going to show up to work tomorrow. I'm, going through this thing, figuring this out. And she was like, well, no one else can really cover, so you're going to show up. She was like, you're supposed to be onboarding someone. So she's like, I really don't care how you do it. Just get there. And naturally, being the people pleaser that I am, I was like, hey, that's fine. I'm like, cool, I guess I'm going to make this work. So I literally show up and I see this guy who I'd never met before with this big old goofy smile, ready to work. I spent the whole day teaching him how to operate the computers while typing on one hand. And it was just like one of those hey, nice to meet you. I'm Xavier. I have a dog bite on my hand. And I'm here to teach you how to do this job. And I remember Billy's face just being like, well, okay then, cool. I guess this is who I'm working with. And, fortunate enough, we just worked a bunch of shifts together until we became friends. And we have the same sense of humor. We're both dumb and are loud and love talking to people. So we became very quick friends, and we created a lot of rapport with the members that we worked with. And it was almost like every time we worked shifts together, it was like working a comedy routine. Oh God, yes. Billy and I, because we also would open the club at 5:30 a.m. So it was like me and him at 5:30 a.m. while the people are dragging their heels into the club, and we're just like, hey, how's it going? Hey, nice to meet you, man. Get over here and chat with us. Yeah. And they're just like, shut up, please. It's way too early for this. So that was how I met Billy. And then I met Ron when I was working at same series of clubs, but out in the suburbs. And we were looking for a PM hospitality lead for the gym because I was the hospitality manager at the time. Ron really stuck out as someone I really wanted to bring on, even though he didn't end up getting the PM supervisor position. For one, just how he was in the interview, the fitness background and looking to get into the fitness field, and his managing experience being in Portillo's and stuff like that. He was someone who really stuck out in the interview process as someone I was like, hey, even if he's not a right fit for this role, I was like, I definitely want this guy, with us and working amongst the team here. And honestly, best damn decision I ever made as a manager ever. I hired a lot of weirdos and instituted a lot of weird policies that I thought would work that didn't, that trial and error period. But I gotta say, out of everyone I ever hired, Ron was the one that I was like, yo, this guy is hungry for something and wants to make a change and gets where I'm coming from with being in ruts and stuff. And I think that's kind of what made Ron and I kind of quick friends. And I'll let one of you guys take it away now.
Yeah, I'll kind of chime in and just kind of jump in too, Ron, if I miss anything. So with the position that I currently work at the gym, it's with customer service, stuff like that. And along the lines, they created like another sub department, and it was kind of still fresh, and it still is at the time, where I guess they help new members get logged kind of into the club and kind of get their foot in the door. And I guess when they said that they hired someone new, they're like, yeah, we're going to stick him next to you guys. He'll be in the back cubicle right behind you guys. And feel free to chat with him if you want. And kind of came in, and he was a little quiet at first because, it's a new environment and stuff. But just kind of chat with him about boy stuff, growing up in the 90s and stuff that we did. And him and I just kind of clicked pretty well.
Yeah, I think it was the TV shows that we were talking about that really.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one question I did wish that Xavier did ask me was, where do you see yourself in a couple years here? Just so I could say, take your job.
Done. You're hired. When can you start? Yesterday, hopefully. But yeah, I would say like from there is just like getting to know them and learning about Billy and Ron's stories, and then kind of integrating mine. And
I fucking love that. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's literally you are just getting life XP, and like having these conversations and then sharing these conversations with other people can help them see that there are other options out there, even if you don't like tangibly know what it is yet. Because I definitely didn't think I would be here working for myself. Like I was like, oh, I'm stuck being a nurse forever. And I still get to be a nurse, just in a serving capacity, which is what I wanted.
Heck yeah. I mean, I also think. Oh, go ahead. I also think too, like we as a society are so quick to put a timeline on when we're supposed to hit these milestones, right? Like when you're supposed to get married, when you're supposed to have kids, when you're supposed to have your career established. And like the older I get, or at least the longer I exist on the planet, the more I realize that it's like there's really no timeline on this stuff, dude. If you want to make a change, whether you're 16 going into the workforce for the first time, or you're 50 years old and you've been doing the same thing for 20 years and you're just done with it, like, there's no right time and there's no wrong time. Just go for it, dude. Put yourself out there, change things up. There are so many resources out there. And I think that's what this project really is about, is getting people the resources that they need to get jump started in careers or in projects or hobbies that they don't know where to begin. They don't know where to get started. And connecting with people in those fields or who do those is I think, I mean, it's what's fun for me. I like learning about people and learning about the things that they do, because I always think what I do is boring. I'm like, what I do is lame. I want to hear about what other people do, because that's the shit that excites me, dude.
The only last question I have is, what advice was, if it's from a coach, another person within all the stuff you do, what was the best advice you think you ever received?
That's a really good question. I think the best advice that I've received, and I guess it kind of also goes back into like my little like woo woo vein of things. Definitely always working on personal growth. My first bodybuilding coach that I had, she's no longer my current bodybuilding coach, but she is still my mentor. And something that she has asked me, because she likes to do the type of mentoring where she talks you through solving your own problem. And her advice is always, where is that coming from when I'm having a problem? And usually it's coming from a place of judgment. And then, why am I judging whatever I'm judging? What is this mirroring to me? What is this showing me? And that has really helped me grow as an individual, as an athlete, and as a coach. So like when I have a client that could be potentially triggering, like if they're not checking in on time or showing up, she'd be like, well, why is this bothering you? And it would always be like, well, I'm not that kind of client. I always check in on time. And she's like, okay, so why are you judging them? What is going on here truly? And that has helped me to have so much more compassion and just be more successful as a coach, be more objective with things. And it just feeds into that like optimism and just operating from love in every aspect of life. So I always check myself. That's basically what the advice is bitch, check yourself.
Bitch, check yourself.
So you being someone who was in the workforce and actually getting into your own business, what are some challenges that you faced starting your own business and some things that you've learned about yourself during the process?
That's a really good question. I learned that I don't know shit.
I think we all start learning that.
Yep. None of us know shit.
Pretty much. I mean, like, I didn't go to school for business. I didn't go to school for entrepreneurship. I know nothing. When I started out, I just was honestly, what made me even file for my own LLC is the guy I was dating at the time was like, you keep talking about making your own business. Like, when are you going to do it? And something about me is
That's all
if
you
somebody
needed to hear.
says something like that, I'm going to be like, okay, bet.
I mean, he
So
pretty much said, prove it. Like, you want it, prove it.
Yeah, so I did because I didn't want to be like that person that doesn't follow through. And then from there, it's also like, that kind of cliche saying of, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. So like if you're around 5 alcoholics, you're going to be the 6th. If you're around 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. So what I started doing was really taking an audit of my social circle, and an audit of like the people I looked up to and what did I want to learn, who did I want to be. And that's when I started intentionally cultivating friendships, and seeking out people that knew more than I did. And that's pretty much where I've learned everything about business so far. I ended up, I was working with my first bodybuilding coach. I actually ended up as an intern for her, and now she's hired me on as her assistant coach. So everything I've learned about social media marketing, about like back end processes, about like taxes and all that stuff, I've pretty much learned from her and from Google.
Nice.
That's just part of the process is like you're never going to know anything, but what I've learned is I've been 100% successful at keeping myself alive, housed, fed, healthy up until this point. I'm going to be 37 this year. So that's a pretty damn good track record. So even though I don't know what I'm doing, I have full faith that I'm going to figure it out.
Love that.
Amazing.
Take it till you make it.
Yeah, dude, we're all just faking it till we make it. I hit all of my questions. Mandy, I want to make this kind of a part of the podcast as well. If you want, is there a shameless plug? Is there a way, like if listeners have questions for you, is there like a professional email that you want them to reach out to? Or is there a social media handle that like, hey, if they have questions about this type of stuff that they can reach out to you at?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So the best 2 ways to get a hold of me are going to be through Instagram. My handle is at mandy.g.arias, ARIAS. And then that email is going to be mandygarias@gmail.com. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions, health, hormones, fitness, business, whatever. And thank you guys so much for your time and for having me on your podcast.
Hey, well, thank you, Mandy. And thank you for being our first guest. Like I said, I don't know if this is our first episode or not, but you're our first guest either way. And I think I can speak, and I won't have to because they could just say it themselves. This has, I think, been a pretty damn good interview experience, guys.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the stories you told, very detailed, oriented, and it definitely shines a light for anyone who's looking to get into this.
Yeah, I'm honored. Thank you guys.
Well, Mandy, thank you so much again for your time. You have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks. You guys too.
Thank you so much for listening to us here Out of the Rut. If you guys have any questions, stories, or have any specific field you want us to get into, feel free to reach out to us at outoftherut@yahoo.com. Stay strapped or get clapped. It's your boy Billy,
Ron,
and X. And this was Out of the Rut.